Good morning.
Good morning.
You're feeling lots better, aren't you?
I'm lots better, yes. They gave me a few more things to combat me and stuff. But yes.
Good.
But I'm so much better.
Good.
Still, yeah.
Good.
It's all good.
So,
I never know what we're gonna do.
I know. Somebody says, "What do you do?" I said, "Just about anything. We just pop in there and just do it." But my daughter was talking to me about this special study that they did, and this title should be "Food for Thought" because it's about food.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
And Stanford University did a study. And it's really kind of interesting because there's a lot of ramifications, and it gets my blood boiling a little bit about this.
Okay.
All right.
It's gonna boil today.
Yes.
Okay.
And I highlighted some stuff. So what they did is they took, and it was recent. It's not that long ago, and I have it right here. It took a while to find the original study, and you have to be a scientific mind to read some of this gobbledygook. And they took 22 pairs of healthy twins.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
And they have exact healthy identical twins. So remember, we're starting with that.
Okay.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
And then they took one twin of each pair, and one was on a vegan diet.
Okay.
Vegan. And very
Not
specific.
vegetarian.
Vegan. Very specific, where they were eating special vegan nuts and that type of thing. So they were very good about what they gave them. Okay, nutritionally good. Not cheap stuff that some people just eat because, oh, I can eat grass and I'm vegan. That type of thing. And then they put the other twin on an omnivorous diet, which means meat and vegetables and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It was an 8-week study. In the first 4 weeks, the controllers gave them specific food. So they had all their diet set up. And they would bring them in and test them for everything, all different tests. And then the last 4 weeks, they got to prepare their meal by using the model that was given to them. So it still had to be healthy. Now, I looked at this and I highlighted some, okay? So to set it up for you as a scientific mind, this was a population-based randomized clinical trial of 22 pairs, and they call them N44. It was probably a certain gene that made sure that they were identical. Randomized participants to a vegan or omnivorous, one twin per pair. And I'm reading this right from it, okay? This was March 28th, 2022, and continued through May 5th, 2022. And the date of final follow-up was July 2022. So this was a couple years ago, but it's just, it's out there, okay? And diet was specific. And here it is. This was random clinical trial of 22 healthy individuals.
Okay. May I ask first, what were the ages?
They were all about, the ages were like 39 through 40.
Okay.
So a nice age group, and that's in here. If I started yelling it out, I'd probably yell out a whole bunch of things. So I have yelled it out, okay? So, and what they're saying here is they wanted to prove something, and they wanted to prove that eating a vegan diet is better for you.
That was their hypothesis.
That is what they were trying to see, okay? All right, so the introduction, plant-based diets have gained recent popularity, but not only for their lower, now I'm reading this, let this stick in your mind, lower environmental impact compared with omnivorous dietary pattern, but also for their health benefits. This is what fires me up, okay? The most significant global, and I'm reading this right from the study. I am reading this. The most significant global health crisis affecting our generation are non-communicable diseases and climate change, which are both inextricably linked to diet and dietary patterns high in plants and low in animal foods can maximize health and environmental benefits. I am reading that from the introduction. That is what they were trying to prove. That's what fires me up.
Okay. May I ask why it fires you up so much?
Because it's not true.
But that's what this is supposed to prove on this proof, right?
What they did,
their hypothesis is that it's better.
and you can if you read this whole thing over and find out, okay, yes. And all of their blood pressures here of these people started out better than mine on any day. I'm just saying. Okay.
So on the initial baseline, everybody was
pretty healthy, because here's the thing. All right, so they fed these people these things, and then of course when they come up with the results, they find out that both groups, both groups, the vegan had a little bit more. They both lost weight. The vegan diet they found a little bit lower in everything. Everything, a little bit lower. Like,
so they did not prove anything.
Not in my book, because it was only 8 weeks. And they started out with healthy people. And they put them on a diet, which...
I don't think you would want to start out with unhealthy people. In case something didn't go right.
Well, maybe, but suppose you had somebody who had higher blood pressure and were extremely overweight. Then if you put them on this diet and they're monitored clinically, if they did lose weight and they did have all these, then it's a significant factor, because they've lost weight. It's been healthy for them. These guys were healthy to begin with, and they ended up healthy at the end. They just lost a little bit. Now,
but neither one of the diets proved better than the other.
Well, the vegan was a little bit better, because I think they lost a little bit more weight, but they also did not have their
Probably because it didn't taste good.
B12, because some of the vegan diets, this vegan diet would deplenish. You wouldn't get your B12 because you need your B12 from meat sources and your iron. There you go, a supplement. So we have to now produce supplements. Okay, so that have reported similar metabolic weight loss benefits of vegan diets, yet tend to focus on very low fat vegan diets, study populations, diabetes, overweight, or comparison diet with limited attention to equios. Novelties of the current trial were the use of more modern and higher fat vegan diet onset. So they put in all this reading material, and you find out that strengths and limitations, all right, several aspects of our design and implementations are strengths. First, enrolling twins, because they were eliminating any influence of age, sex, genetic factors may affect clinical outcomes. So they're all identical. Yep, that's true. Of course, my husband said, well, did they have a control? I said, you'd have to have triplets. Identical triplets. So, okay, you're the control. You can eat anything. You can one day you can have vegetables and meat, anything you want. So we don't have a control for this study, because it's kind of hard to get identical triplets. Usually there's a pair of twins, and then there's the other little thing, okay. All right. So factors that may affect clinical outcomes. Identical twins often share a similar environment and lifestyle, reducing environmental factors on the study results. So the results, to me, they didn't do it for proving the diet so much.
Mm-hmm.
Their proof was to prove that if we all go vegan, we'll help the environment and climate change.
Okay, so to me...
Go ahead. I love it, because I know what she's going to do. Go to her, girl. Go ahead. I probably do.
My question would be, in this control, then you'd have to really measure how much methane that the omnivorous diet people put out compared to that would be your
now
control correct?
here's another. You bring up a really funny factor because if you eat a lot of vegetables, all that roughage may produce a lot of awesome gas.
Wouldn't that add
To the whole thing. So we can make this we're trying to cut down. You see, folks, what are they talking about?
Exactly.
They want to kill beef.
Because of the methane that the beef puts out.
Exactly. Because
if you eat more vegetables, a lot of times you get gassier yourself, and you're going to put out some methane, correct?
You're going to put out some methane.
You're actually, by eating.
Don't lean over a fire. Do not do that. So this is what got me fired up because I'm thinking, all right, what really, this came from Stanford, left coast. That's who did it. So what really, because they've thrown it in, the little caveat that they throw in here is the environmental benefits.
But what is the environmental benefit? Because if you're adding your own methane.
Yeah, well, the thing is that they get rid of, we don't need cattle. We'll just kill all the cattle and everything that we eat. So I hate to tell you this, folks, but the deer roam too. There's a lot of wildlife out there. So you just want to get rid of the beef? And that's funny because when I texted my daughter back that time, I said, where's the beef? And I put a cow in there.
Well, you've got chicken as meat.
Well, you got chicken and fish. And
on their diet, they could have had anything. I mean, they could have had different sources of meat, correct?
Yes, they could have.
So you don't know, unless to me, this does not seem like a really good control. A very well controlled.
8 weeks to me. Now, let's go beyond this. All right. So I'm the vegan and you're the omnivore, okay? And you are enjoying your meat whenever you want it for 8 weeks. And I'm grazing, basically. And I don't get me wrong, I love vegetables.
But vegans have so many other limitations also. It's not just, vegetarians is one thing, but vegans have other limitations in their diet
they're just
because they can't have milk and dairy.
No, it's not, nuts and all that. So here,
substitute things. So it's not just.
Here's after 8 weeks. You know why? Oh, I might have lost weight. But what am I actually losing?
Well, okay, so that was going to be my next question after throwing out the methane thing. How much better was your physical body? Because, you need the proteins, you need things that, because even on a healthy diet, you're eating low-fat meats, you're eating low-fat proteins.
Yes.
But you need protein, which I know you can get protein from beans and stuff, but you do need some meats, and you need the things that come from meats too. You
need the meats for your complete,
it's always been
your protein, your and amino acids. So my question when I read this is, well, the vegans yes, they both lost weight, but I think the omnivores lost fat weight more. Mm-hmm. And the vegans probably lost muscle weight.
Probably so, because I know
they've got to get their protein. It's like they're not getting the protein. And they did say exercise here, but if you don't have the right nutrients, how many bodybuilders have jars of protein mix? Why? They exercise and they drink protein so they can build muscle. Now, those of you who like bean soup, I love lentil soup.
I like that 15 bean soup I make it sometimes.
Oh, yes. It's very gassy. It can be very gassy.
You gotta be careful with beans.
Yes, and you can cook it out. You can cook it out. I had a spoon one time that one of my students gave me, and she was older when she gave it to me. It had like a little ladder, and it says to take the farts out of your bean soup. It was a bean spoon. It's like a climb out. So that got me a little fired up because when they start putting in environmental factors, going vegan is not going to change anything. environmentally by killing cattle.
Mhm. Mhm.
I keep telling you, one volcano exploding will take care of our climate change very quickly. Very quickly. Krakatoa did it very quickly. Tonga affected. Mount St. Helens affected our weather. And there's climate change. It's been changing before humans were walking the earth.
I agree. I mean, I don't, I'm sorry.
See, we can't even argue.
I'm not even, no, I'm.
We can't even argue on this, can we? We can't argue on this because
Well, my thing is too, around here, if you can incorporate meats. I mean, in wintertime, you can't grow vegetables unless you have a greenhouse.
now, vegan diet, yeah, vegan diet's expensive, it's especially the way they're talking about.
And the WIC programs don't support usually.
No, now, okay, so let's bring in a different aspect here.
Which is another avenue to go down. the
Here-
WIC stuff. But go-
Yeah, oh yeah, you wanna go there? Go there,
No,
now.
let's go your
So,
route.
all right, so, I wonder if they gave them organic stuff.
But California, most likely.
Well, what do you think these organic farmers put on their fields? Well,
It's probably organic certified.
and it probably comes from a,
Animal.
Mhm.
I mean,
just telling you that manure
gotta come from somewhere.
gotta come from someplace. So you gotta balance these things. Everything's in balance. You're, I'm like, okay, so you wanna go vegan, and you probably say, it has to be organic. What are you gonna supply those organic plants with? Moo. Because I'm sure you're not going to go out in the woods and scoop up deer scat. Has little tiny balls. Not going to happen. So this study, the only thing it did is they probably got money and grants to do it.
They
Okay. It was short.
did.
It was very short. To be, in my book, I think I wouldn't get such healthy people because they start out really healthy.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, to me, that part doesn't necessarily bother me because then I can branch out and go, okay, now that we found the healthy people, not a lot of change, there's a little bit. Now let's see what the metabolic change. But I mean, just to make sure that our diet is not going to
Affect their medical status.
assess.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they always tell you when you go on a diet to check with your doctor first.
Yes, and
So-
these would, yes,
So
these
at
would,
least
yep,
with these healthy people, at least they knew that there was nothing going on.
yes.
Because, and so then to me, the next step would be, okay, now let's incorporate people that are having twins that are having these issues. Twins that are having diabetes, or twins that are having high blood pressure or heart problems. And then let's see how this affects.
And you know, the other way they could do it, now, they could take this and do another, like you said, another study with people that need have it. But they also, instead of doing it so suddenly, they could do a gradual turnover.
Mhm.
You know, so it gradually turned over until eventually they were both on their diets.
Well,
And then longer than 8 weeks.
but see, again, it goes back to me that their plan was not really to see about the healthiness so much
No.
as about, you know, if we go this route and take meat away from everybody, is it really going to affect them? I mean, but it's not really a good because if you do not have a control, I mean, and you said there wasn't, you don't see a control.
Well, a control would be somebody who just, we eat whatever you want. And see what happens.
Exactly, but I mean, you need
No, it shouldn't be,
something.
and that person should have no change. So then but these guys, and I'll tell you, I looked at their blood pressure and I was really, I was like, oh, look at their blood pressure. Their blood pressure was really good. Where is it? It's down here someplace, okay. And their cholesterol started out to be pretty good too. I'm like, oh, okay, these guys are doing a really blood pressure, 120 over 74. Okay, I pray for days like that. 127 over 75. These are good.
That's kind of where mine runs.
Yeah, and
That's
they
around the area mine runs.
I don't have it that good unless I'm really resting. My mind doesn't
Or
know.
you're on that, what is it, that medicine that makes you feel like when you're on that one medicine or
It's like,
something, you're better than, your blood pressure's better than.
it's like, give me some.
But
Anyway,
see, I don't like, but see, again, it's.
they had
They have an agenda.
they had an agenda, and they got money to do this agenda, and they are trying to say that if we all eat plants, the climate will be better.
But it really did not prove that.
It didn't. It's not going to prove anything.
I mean, they're really not gonna be able to use this study to go on something and go, yes, this is it.
No, because
One, you use totally healthy people. And
yes.
two, I mean, the other thing is, it's not only the environmental impact, you've gotta look at the financial impact.
Oh my gosh.
So, I mean, because WIC programs, unless they have changed, do not incorporate fresh vegetables and stuff, at least they used to.
Oh, really? So what does WIC stand for?
Women, infants, and children. Right?
Okay, all right. I don't know.
At one point in life, it didn't. I mean, I don't know exactly now.
So they can
I
get.
don't have anybody that I know that's on it, but at one point, I mean, you could get cereals, but they were supposed to be cereals with no sugar in them. You could get dairy, you could get dairy and stuff, but it wasn't really used for, like fruits, vegetables, and things like that.
Can you get canned stuff?
Maybe with your food stamps, but I don't think with WIC, so to speak.
Huh.
I don't think so. But like I said, I have to look that up.
To look that up.
If you want people to be healthy, if you're giving them money for certain things, then maybe you should allow them.
Yeah, you should.
I do, so even in the next level with this, say, okay, we've used healthy people. Now we need to use people that may not be so healthy. And in rural environments where fresh vegetables and everything are not in access, and we need to see the financial impact as well.
So there's a lot of ramifications, and healthy wise, like discussion here, healthy identical twins had a change in adult identical twins, the 8-week change in LDL-C level, the primary was significantly lower for twins receiving the vegan diet compared with twins receiving the omnivorous diet. Insulin levels and weight were also significantly lower among the twins on the vegan diet from baseline to 8 weeks. But I don't think it was that high significant. Vegan diet participants, because they already started out pretty good, Vegan diet participants had lower protein intake as a percentage of calories. Lower dietary satisfaction. They were hungry.
Well, the taste was not really good.
Lower intake of dietary cholesterol, but higher intake of vegetable servings and intake of dietary iron. Vegans had lower intake of B12, yet serum B12 levels were not statistically different than omnivores at 8 weeks. They likely because of preserved stores. So they had things stored up. Long-term vegans are typically encouraged to take B12 supplements. So limiting the study by 8 weeks, they were just using up reserves they had in their body.
But also, see, the LDL thing too could be, what kind of meats did they serve them?
Yes.
Did they serve them high-fat meats or meats that would, but if you're only low.
But even the omnivorous, I can say, participants improved their diet quality during the 8-week intervention. So they improved too. All right, increased vegetables and whole grain intake and decreased added sugars and refined grains. Second, within both groups, potential differences in clinical endpoint changes have been blunted because participants were healthy at baseline.
You know, they say that all meat diet now, that a lot of people do, and they're doing only like
Was
meats
it the
and stuff.
keto diet?
No, this
It's
one is
another
this
one?
one's a meat one.
Oh,
And you can have like much meat and different meats and stuff as you want. And supposedly people, their blood pressure, their cholesterols, everything is good. And which would amaze me because you know just having meat in your diet and not really having vegetables and other things, it's interesting to me. But there are people out there just doing a lot of meat.
well, when I had this discussion with our daughter, and she was like, really? And then it was funny. We were texting back and forth. It was last Thursday. And it was really kind of funny because I sent her, "Where's the beef?" I said, we have incisors and canines. Why do you think we have those? To rip and gnaw at meat. Give me a chicken bone. If we were supposed to be grain eaters, we would have more molars with grinding teeth like cows, like eat the donkey.
But you know, in the early Bible days and stuff, they wasn't allowed to eat hoofing
Well,
animals.
yes, and
But that was a religious thing. I think.
that was, well, the interesting thing, the cloved hoof was for pigs.
Well, pigs or anything with
Yeah,
cloven hooves.
with cloven hoofs, but some of that,
Deer had cloven hooves too, right?
yes, they're related to sheep.
And sheep, yeah. So
Yep. But the pigs, in fact, if you look at, boy, we just morphed into a different. If you look
we
at,
only have a few minutes.
okay, if you look at the Hebrew diet, they don't eat pig, they don't eat pork, because pork carried parasites.
Okay.
So they were, not only was it biblical, but they were aware of the dangers of eating pork because they had parasites, which is kind of interesting. You know, they were very healthy on that stuff.
And that is interesting.
It is, and they, you know, kosher, you don't mix meat and dairy together, which is also untried. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. You had two separate plates that you. It's interesting, and I hadn't studied all that. Anyway, give me the beef. I'm talking about beef. I want beef now. I might have to stop for a hamburger before I go home. Or my husband, a deer ran into our little gray car last night.
Oh.
So I said, "You didn't bring the deer home?" He said, "It was pretty mangled." I said, "Oh, ground venison." Anyway,
All right,
so
guys. Well, next week we won't be here, but we'll do another
that's
one
right.
when we get back. So, all right. But
Eat your meat.
Eat your meat. See you later.